My name is Edgars Stafeckis. I'm a partner and consultant at Digital Mind, working here for already 14 years, helping a lot of companies in the Baltics and beyond in the projects which were related to reshaping the business processes, making them more efficient, moving towards digital with help of technology, including enterprise content and enterprise information management technologies. So I have accumulated some experience. I want to share it with you, and it is my pleasure to do so today. But as you can imagine, the presentation is not going to be about myself. It's going to be about more already practical and more kind of capabilities dimension. That's my job after Maris, who explained the legal and the governance perspective of how we organize work, what should be taken into account. And I heard some very good quotes, so to speak, make information governance as a DNA of your operations. Frankly speaking, this is exactly where I will come to this point in my presentation as well. So I'll try to explain information management, content management, because through understanding better what it actually encompasses, it's way better also for you to make, according to me, better decisions and understand how you can do better today and be prepared for even better tomorrow. I'll share main capabilities, share practical use cases and examples of how information, where the information resides in your organization in terms of personal productivity for each of us, and also in a global picture in whole business process and whole company. Share some recommendations, what to consider to make the best out of such initiatives. Why do we talk about it? Well, if you have been listening to previous two speakers, I believe I do not need to repeat these things, but I will share my practical experience when we first were discussing about organizing such event. And two things came to my mind. First, as you all probably, we experienced the shift to working from home. And suddenly organizations experienced a new channel, a new change in habits, how we work, how we exchange information, how we get it right, how we serve customers. So we moved to digital, not only inside the organization, but we also now are competing in the digital arena for each customer to provide the best service to win in the game. I'm trying to justify each my statement with some data around it, but I'll not elaborate on it, so I just leave it in the notes, and afterwards you can see also the source, if you will, with the materials. One interesting fact about this tendency of shifting to digital is about the jump in proportion of interactions between companies and their customers in Europe. So after half a year since the pandemic restrictions started, the jump in the growth of these digital interactions in Europe, in overall, it jumped 3 years ahead. So before pandemic, of course, there was already natural growth and the reshape of digitalization, how the companies switched to online and remote. But within half a year in Europe, on average, these interactions with customers jumped 3 years ahead. That's a hell of a speed. On the other hand, it proves that we can do it if there is the circumstances and the intention to do it. While we have this shift of work, of customer experience and serving customers, we have the pressure comes from lockdowns, from the uncertainty, and companies are holding investments. They are forced to cut costs. That's sadly, but that's the reality. And the way how we see how companies accomplish it in a sustainable way is through looking inside technology. What we can do with help of technology to make to do more with less. To make things even more complicated, also colleagues here elaborated that the rules of the game are getting more and more complex. We have the regulatory requirements, depending on national, international, industry-specific, inside the organization. We have these rules of the game that we need to follow. And on the other hand, every minute, cyber attacks are happening, data breach. That's not anymore somewhere out there, far away in America or old Europe. It's happening right here, right now. I myself, I have been a customer of already few companies where I get notification, hey, Edgars, unfortunately, there was an incident and probably also your data has been stolen. So this is not something obsolete, somewhere happening out there. It's happening right here, right now. So we need to make sure we can take control over it. There was question about fines to Maris and looking up statistics as end of January this year in Baltic countries, there were already 11 cases where GDPR-related fines were issued to companies. Total is already over €500,000 in fines in Baltics. So this is, again, not something out there far remote. It's happening right here, right now. So we better get our ideas and works to tackle. We, as a company, we have grown from helping companies in concepts like paperless, in automating business process, in digitizing them. When we talk about enterprise information, typically what is referred to is kind of two types of data. One is this structured, which is data in tables, codes, volumes, numbers, phone numbers, and so on. So it's some data in table. And there is also other type of data which is unstructured. This is data like documents, media, texts, AutoCAD, name it. Something that is not typically put into a table. And as a manager, you need to make sure that you are applying proper methods to manage all of this information. So information management as a holistic concept means that it's how you describe, manage, distribute all information within all aspects of your organization, including all kinds of technology that is used there. This is one of the official definitions you see on the screen, but I prefer to explain it through what it does for your business. So with information management, to put it in the proper way, you as a company can become an intelligent and connected enterprise. You get the right information to the right person in the right time without wasting time and considering the risk and efficiency aspects, so that your employees can focus on what really matters instead of wasting the time on some activities which add no value. Once you are holding hand and you are managing the information properly, this is enabler to get the most value out of the information assets that you have. You can derive the insights to make best informed decisions, to provide best experience to your customers. And let's not forget the kind of cost of doing business. You need to play according to the rules. The rules are equal to everybody. So, we cannot maybe influence so much those rules. What we can influence is how we manage complying to them. And with technologies that encompass under information management, this process is made easier to manage the visibility and transparency of information management throughout the life cycle, throughout the company. So I hope I've given you the cloud level direction on how enterprise information management, where it fits in the organization as a holistic concept. But now, when we talk with companies in Baltics, I often use the concept and explain why does it matter and how it actually works from perspective of information lifecycle. So enterprise information management is happening in any company. Where you work in your department, you are managing information already now. The question is how it's structured and how you position it. But when we look to a specific case of information, each piece of information has a life cycle in your organization. First, it's being born. In this case, it's described as capture. And I don't mean just capture, scan the document and then it was born in the organization. We received it in paper, now we scanned it, now we have it as electronic data. I don't mean only that. Today, there are multiple ways how information is born in a company. It's user who created. Maybe it's some system who created. Maybe through some integration or from portal we received some information that it's ingested in our business and we now need to take care. So there are various ways how the information is captured, how it's born in our organization. Next, we give it a meaning. We classify it. Is it finance? Is it customer? Is it product? Is it asset? Do we need some additional data about it? Not only who and when created it, but also maybe if it's a contract. What is it about? What are the parameters of it? So it's called adding metadata to give meaning and to have more tools to track and manage this kind of information within the organization. So based on the classification, it's defined how the information will be managed, starting from where we store it, how long we keep it, who can access and do what certain operations with this information. Maybe there are certain processes and tasks associated with this certain information that should be executed. Let's take an example, accounts payable invoice. It got captured in several ways. So we received it in paper, it was scanned. We received it as attachment in email, it came such way. It came from EDI, maybe with some partners. So there are multiple ways how the information was captured and born and ingested into our organization. We classified it, yep, it's accounts payable. So it triggered a process, it was stored in specific location, appropriate access controls are enforced, life cycle in place, meaning that, for example, we'll keep it for 5 years after the status of the invoice has changed to paid, because we have the regulatory saying here you will have an audit and you might need to prove this evidence. So throughout the life cycle, this data should be discovered, found by people who need to, and we need to archive it, to preserve it according to the life cycles. And when those life cycles finish of the specific information, responsible people get notification, hey, we don't have a legal obligation to keep this information. Should we delete it or justify why we keep it? This can, of course, be also automated discipline, but think this direction throughout whole life cycle. I gave you an example of accounts payable, but think any department, any business process, there is information used and generated throughout those processes, because content fuels business process. And to make it smooth, think how you can improve this whole life cycle. Information throughout the whole time when we manage and keep it, it can be stored in various locations. But what's important is that information should not be locked in some silos, just to make sure and to have evidence, hey, this is how we keep it, we manage it, we have the control over it. Think the direction that this information can be part of also in other parts of the business, in all processes. It should be accessible by any other application where this information is required. And let's not ignore or discriminate the choice and efficiency tools that the users use. So information lifecycle explains what happens to each and every piece of information in the company. To manage the information lifecycles and flow of information properly, you need the proper tools. Well, I will share some core capabilities that we see companies are looking and leveraging to make the governance and management of information most efficient and compliant. So first, we think of traditional, so to speak, document management or content management as well. To make sure that the right people can easily get to the right information, work with the latest version. All operations are tracked, audited, so you can kind of keep hand on how the information flows across organization or how it's easily accessible to whoever needs it. But then to enforce this governance, tools like records management are used. They help you automate this information governance throughout the whole life cycle. Later on today, my colleagues will also show in masterclasses how it looks and works in real life. Next, archiving. Main idea of archiving is to make sure that you can securely and for long term preserve the valuable assets or information in your company and do it in secure and cost-efficient manner. Archiving is the memory of your organization. So you better make sure that it runs smoothly and you can leverage it. Capture. Although there is this shift from born on paper to born digital of information, still it will take some time until really the operations and interactions take place totally digitally. And until then, look for ways how you can optimize and leverage technology to replace manual work of information processing. Collaboration. I think it's impossible to imagine a company running today without some collaboration tools. We all move to remote meetings. We share content within the organization, outside the organization, with our partners, with our customers. And here's the thing. If you will not provide, so to speak, legitimate channels and secure ways how your company can share the content within and outside your company, the users will find a way. Sadly, most probably it will be email, which is a great deal of all the cyber attack incidents that are happening. So think how you could provide secure and correct collaboration and sharing capabilities in your organization. Use cases may be different. You work in the project with your partner. Share this information together. Don't send it in emails. You need a contract signed from your partner or from your customer. embed signing in your processes and your digital channels. Think the direction to make it controlled and secured. And very important here is to think of tools that help you work productively. Not only we have it all now digital, hooray! That's, I would say, a huge step, but it's not the destination. Now think of next way how to improve productivity of your staff, how to automate workflows, how to leverage artificial intelligence to remove the manual tasks of a person, to improve the rate of errors in processes. Look in that direction. There is the tendency that many companies prefer that this comes from a platform, a single platform that talks to each other. These capabilities are embedded already, instead of going around and then looking for different technologies and capabilities that don't talk to each other by default. So those are some of the critical capabilities that you should think and leverage to make your information management a success. So where is the greatest value of information management? The simple word is synergy. Synergy of content, what I referred previously as the documents, various quotations, contracts, invoices, and increasingly important also digital media. When you connect content with the context, which is data typically residing in your business applications like ERP, like CRM, and others, when you link these two worlds, you get the most value out of the content. You get this increased productivity. People don't look for the right information. They don't spend time on these activities. But in the beginning of the seminar, we referred, and that's true. We've done multiple reviews and analysis also in the Baltics companies, and even up to 30 to 40% of time people do spend on activities related to getting the right information for the job they need to do. So it's huge increase in productivities. We work with the best information that we have. We make informed decisions, and ideally, we also ensure that we have embedded controls to meet the compliance. How it works in practice? Let's go through a simple. For me, it seems simple. I hope it will be understandable for you. An example of this concept. So on the top of priorities, even and now with pandemic, first thing many companies did was how we can ensure our staff, our teams have the digital workplace to have their productivity at best. So these are tools where users create information, where they manage it, where they process it, where they collaborate on it, and it's very often ad hoc operations, talking to each other, kind of free-form work. In parallel, if we look from a broader sense, it's part of our digital business, which is usually managed by some leading application, again, some ERP or CRM or content management in many cases, where we look for truly digital business, for truly digital operations, which are linked, which are most automated, and where we have the information governance embedded. So we have the records management and archiving already as part of that approach of digital business to make the process productive as possible. As long as this digital workspace and digital business concepts are separate worlds, we have a potential problem here. There is this, most likely you will run into information silos. What is that? That will mean that we have some information here in ERP, we have some data here on the disk drive, we have some data now in Teams, because that's where we work with it, that's where users want to make the fast work out of it. But as the information gets scattered in those information silos across the organization, it requires much more effort to make the compliance and ensure that information flows securely, leading to inefficiencies and duplication and loss of data. Because when you will tell your users, hey, once you have done the job, go and file this document right there because we need it for the process. It's noise in the process, and it's already embedded that there could be errors and inefficiencies. How to tackle that? There is a simple approach, widely used, when you basically integrate the digital workplace with your digital business. You make it as a holistic routine for your teams, in your processes. What is happening there? You link the core systems with those tools and where users are being best at their productivity. Once you make it kind of seamless, well, now I'm working on a document, sharing it in Teams. We are discussing this new deal with the customer. Users should not maybe think, okay, yeah, but I should also say that this is, records management classification is this on that. It should be this lifecycle. It should be these access rights. No, it should be built inside the process, inside the task or in the environment where your users work to make it as a DNA of your operations. Let's go through an example, and I'll try to explain and show also some practical tools which are applied today very widely to tackle and to get the synergy. I like processes a lot, so I feel very tempted to use examples on some process that is most likely happening in nearly all of the organizations that are participating today. Opportunity to revenue. So it starts, imagine also in this case, now Digital Mind. We have a campaign and we are trying to get new partners, new business partners, new customers, new revenues. In your business, you have probably all or the same, or you're trying to sell some product. So there are people who are working in CRM, generating and working to get this process done, get the quote, get the sales order done. And then, once that's approved, it goes to next department, then somebody delivers, then in the end, there's customer support. So it's rather long process, including end-to-end parts of your organization. Different departments using different tools, but all in the same kind of chain. And there can be various types of information that they work on. Offer, quote, contract, whatever, documentation, product specification, service ticket, and others. I'm now referring to those that I most often work with. But in your business, as I said, in each phase, in each process, in each department, you use information. So inevitably, we come to question to make sure we have this digital workplace for personal productivity. I can get my job done right now with the best tools I can have. Very often, and you'll see your users using email to share some information, or Teams to already work on the same information, and other applications which are out there for personal productivity. But again, as we see on the slide as well, each this task that your employees do, it's part of your digital business, of a holistic end-to-end process. And here we are thinking about efficiencies, how to make sure that this result of that job done by those teams gets the right place to the other people who are involved in the process. And let's not forget that this is enterprise information assets and they need to be properly managed. So governance underneath and the appropriate compliance and security measures. This digital business is usually driven in kind of core applications like ERP, ECM, or CRM. And how then to bring these synergies of content in context. This concept of business workspaces is getting big popularity. And I will explain, and I hope you find it interesting and review. Maybe in your organization this makes sense as well. Well, a business workspace it represents a kind of digital twin of any object in your organization. Now, business workspace could be employee, it could be business partner, it could be contract, it could be project, product, and so on. Wherever there is information about a meaningful entity in your organization. Typically, this business workspace would also define or have embedded what kind of data should be captured about this information associated with the specific workspace. What kind of information needs to be there? What roles can work with this information? And maybe there are already some tasks, starting from automated lifecycle tasks or reminders, or maybe these workflows that we elaborated a minute ago. Think this direction to use these digital twins of objects that you have in your organization. And in our process example, then the life with business workspaces would look like this. Our account executives, the sales teams, the marketing teams, we work in campaign workspace, for example. We are starting from describing the idea or justification for such event. We are preparing calculations and budgets. We have tenders probably and contracts with the suppliers for this specific campaign. We have visual assets, target lists, feedback forms, a variety of content associated with specific event of this entity, in this case, a campaign. Moving on, next departments, next people will be working with this potential customer that came out of this initiative or this campaign. We do AML checks if needed, and we do collect other information and do these validations wherever needed. But again, this information is linked, so we see the history, we know all associated information. People with appropriate access rights can get to the information inside the organization, inside also the systems where they work. And moving on down the process, so we have this potential customer, great success, we close the deal, so now it's a sales order put to other departments. Delivery, we go and define the product or the service that will be delivered. So, and these business workspaces, you find them across the organization. And this concept of workspace help you to standardize, meanwhile provide this personal productivity in which the enterprise content governance, information governance principles are already embedded. As long as you keep it this concept and you share these content services and these approaches across a whole enterprise, it's way easier for you, for your company, to enforce information governance throughout the whole life cycle of information in any part of your business. This approach, I'll have also just to show as a kind of visual examples to make it more maybe comprehensive. So imagine we have a new customer or new business partner registered in our company. For example, it was registered in some content management system. We registered the new partner, Global Trade. Meanwhile, also in ERP system, there a new object, a new partner was triggered to be registered, and all the associated information also for those teams and people who work in the other application, the same very information, the same last version with all the controls and associated information available also where the user is. In Latvia, we had this reform when the money was following the pupil, how to distribute money to education system. Well, in a way, this is somewhat similar that not the employee is following where the content is, but the content is following where the employee is. Again, to bring these barriers down and to improve efficiencies and reduce errors associated with information. So I work in ERP, I see the same information. Staff from working in CRM, they will also see what's based on their role accessible to their people. We work in teams, we have a meeting, we are now discussing what to do with this global account. We have the same information shared among us and so on and so back and forth. I hope this helps you visualize this concept. We see it bringing huge benefits, and I believe today also in one of the master classes, Martin will elaborate and then show more inside this concept of extending content wherever the business process is happening. Once your company will come to decision point to upshift your enterprise information management tools, practices, technologies used. Well, we've been doing that for already since 2004. Although the time is limited, I did want to share at least few recommendations to consider when you pursue these implementations of projects supported by technologies. So first of them, as we just spoke, you definitely need, and without doubt, embrace the digital workspace to provide those productivity tools for your employees. But let's not forget that everything done there is part of a bigger picture, of a business process, of your whole information management. Try to look for ways to embed it, to make it seamless for the users, that they are actually part of a global, bigger picture. They have the right information at hand. If it will be easier for them, this governance aspect will be invisible and you will get greater success of whole idea. Why do you do this information management, the goals associated with it? Next, well, I cannot say for everybody, but there is a saying, people are lazy. No? I am lazy, I'll confess, and if I will be asked to do some manual tasks for some, some tasks that legal says I need to make sure to do for the organization to comply, to add metadata, to type information from one to other system, I will have the temptation to find ways not to do it, and this will lead to to poor adoption of technology. That in turn, ruins the whole idea why we do it. Why do we thrive for the proper information management? Why do we tackle these risks? So use technology, automation, artificial intelligence to take those manual tasks off your teams, also in context of managing information. Again, later on today, my colleagues are showcasing several approaches of tools, how low-code approach can help you automate these tasks, robotics, and so on. And so far, I've been talking a lot about technology, but here's the thing. It will not fly if you don't do proper change management in your organization. We've seen so many cases where this has been proven as the cornerstone for success. You can use the, very, so to speak, basic technology. You can use state-of-the-art technology, but with the understanding and then proper adoption of it, it will not simply work. One of mindsets proven to work, how to get a bigger organizational buy-in, is when you get the understanding also to other lines of business of this content fuels business process concept. Once those lines of business see the value of it, then it's much easier to get a broader buy-in within the organization, meaning greater success for adoption and the overall success of such initiatives. So, throughout my presentation, what I tried to do, and I hope you took, again, maybe 3, maybe more, but at least few ideas and ways how to look at information management, so how it helps and how its mission is for you to work as efficient as possible with the right information according to compliance and risk tackling practices. And once you do that, you are not wasting time anymore on some routine activities or finding answers. Is it the right information? Is it actual data? You are more empowered to connect your company and work intelligently and maximize the value of those information assets that you have within your organization. Naturally, we would be happy to meet you in person and elaborate discussion how exactly this could fit in your organization. So my name is Edgars Stafeckis, and thank you.
Thank you, Edgars. Thank you, and don't go away because there are questions here, and also those who don't know how to do that, please write your questions in a Slido. Yes, all are listed here. But I have questions. Can you describe or explain what will happen with the companies who postpone the digitalization?
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, it's a good question. A few years back, I remember big technology vendors, going on the stage and saying, "Digital or die." Well, I would not be so categoric. It's, as I said, also right now. All companies, all businesses are managing information. It's about how much effort they put in it, how they are protected in terms of the cyber security and also on the compliance perspective. So the further you postpone upshifting these methods, the more time you are wasting to get actually better and be prepared for the new normal where we are competing in digital. We're competing for workforce. With proper tools, it's way easier to do it. So better not postpone it, think already, look for solutions already today.
Mm-hmm. Or competitors will go further and you postpone still. But digital or die sounds strong enough. Okay, there's one question more, actually a couple, yes. What is the must-do or minimum for a company to start solving this? Or you mentioned these document management challenges. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, document is one way of information carriers, right? We have files across the company and probably even outside. So first thing I would rather recommend to any company now, put it in your priority list to find and understand the extent of this subject. What is our business? What information we consume it? and then out of that understand how it's actually processed and how people work with it. This is the first step probably to draw a line around the subject, to understand how big the topic is in your company. Based on that, probably then you'll start looking, okay, I'm doing this and there are probably these challenges here. Yeah, I see people are switching among several systems where this information is required. Okay, I see there are 3 copies of the same information, one in Dropbox shared with customer, one internally, and 3 in email, right? Again, this is already an exclamation mark. There are inefficiencies in place already there because people are switching and not working probably with the right versions always. So first, try to understand the size of this matter in your company. Then, based on that, you probably will go to finding next appropriate tools for you.
Okay. Thanks, and I think it's a very good point that you don't need only some new system, add additional system which will solve the problems. Yes, no, there is no one wonder.
Unfortunately,
system.
No, there is no such a pill and one answer for all.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, and the last question is about what the tangible benefits from the ACM or EM.
Yeah. If I get the question right, I also try to elaborate throughout the presentation. So typically, but this is like general expressions, companies use this kind of technology to foster efficiencies. So to cut out no value-added activities. We do, before implementations of systems, also cost-benefit analysis. We do understand and clearly show, and those numbers are sometimes surprising, how much time people spend on activities to get to the right information, to do the actual job that they were asked. 40%. This is also, in specific industries, also in Baltics, a reality. And you could cut down this time, maybe not by 100%, but by 90 or 80 if you do it. So efficiency. Second is this compliance and risk. We talk much about the cyber attacks and compliance. And I do feel still that many companies are like, no, that's somewhere there, Mm-hmm. Who cares about me? No, there are,
till the moment
you are there, and then it's probably too late, and your business actually can be already under. So it's not something to postpone, otherwise it's going to be too late. So it's not only about efficiency, but it's also about actually, surviving or continuity of your business and sustainable continuity.
Okay, yes, thank you. And those who want to ask more questions to Edgars, you can do it also. Later, I will get the answers and bring it to you.